There are tons of anime conventions up and down in the state of California, but most of them are in NorCal or SoCal. But what about Central California? Are any of those conventions worth doing? I'm Ashley from Lay Spirit Designs, and I am doing Central California anime conventions so you don't have to. And this weekend we are at AnimeCon in Fresno, California at the Fresno Fairgrounds.
Unlike my usual Artist Alley vlogs, I'm showcasing each convention as a prospect for other vendors. Are they events worth traveling to, or best for locals only? Is there potential for future growth? I share all the details about this event at the end, with pros and cons, as well as my own personal profits and expenses for each event to give you an idea of how you might do, so stick around to the later part of the video for that info, and please keep in mind that my experiences won't necessarily reflect yours. AnimeCon is one of the longest running anime conventions in the Fresno area, celebrating its 14th year in 2026. It has been held at the Fresno Fairgrounds every year since I started vending in 2017, though I believe before that it was held at a hotel downtown. Because anime has been around for so many years, it has a loyal fan base of guests, vendors, and attendees who return every year. This is both a pro and a con for this event, but I'll touch on that later. You can count on this annual convention like clockwork, always the middlemost weekend in March, usually around St. Patrick's Day. The weather in Fresno by then is usually nice and spring-like, which makes it a great time to explore the outside parts of the fairgrounds and get some lovely cosplay photos. Even though this show has been around for so long, it hasn't done much in the way of expanding in the last 10 years, so it's remaining one of the cheaper Artist Alley tables in the state, but not the cheapest table in the Fresno area. I've also been vlogging my experience at this event for the last 4 years, so you can certainly go through my channel to watch the 4 other vlogs I have about this particular event. I highly recommend watching 2024 and 2025 vlogs to show how current events have changed this show, but I'll also discuss those nuances later in the video. Overall, anime has lots of pros and cons, which I'd rather discuss in those sections instead of here, so let's get right into it. But first, I would love to introduce you guys to this week's sponsor, EverBee. If you've been around my channel in the last year, you'll know all about EverBee and how they can help you lock in and grow your Etsy shop. Now, they've taken their love of helping small creators a step further by recently launching the EverBee Store Builder. Most small businesses start on marketplaces like Etsy, which is a great way to start out and gain customers and fans of your work. But the limitations of these platforms can be a pain point for shop owners, and EverBee Store is here with solutions. EverBee Store is the fastest, easiest way to launch your online store, either from scratch or from integrating your products from sites like Etsy and Wix. Have a fully functioning store ready for shoppers in 10 minutes. Customize your colors, fonts, and more to fit your brand's style. Upload or import your products carefree with unlimited listings, and so much more. EverBee Store supports physical products, digital downloads, print on demand, and subscription service-based shops. There's even room for content creators and influencers. All these wonderful options, and it's cheaper than Shopify. Set up your first shop for just $29 a month, but enjoy your first trial month for just $1. Click the link in the description box below to get started. Things look a little different behind me, and we're not going to talk about that in this video. You have to check out one of my upcoming videos about home reno. But anyways, let's talk about the overview of AnimeCon 2026. Anime 14.0 was held March 14th and 15th, 2026 at the Fresno Fairgrounds. The hours on Saturday were 10 to 7 and Sunday they were 10 to 5. Tickets for the show are on the cheaper side, around $10 per day or $19.99 for the full weekend pass. They also do a VIP package for $49.99, and that gives you 30 minutes of early entry each day. The entire event spans 2 buildings in the Fresno Fairgrounds, and in recent years it's been coinciding with a TCG event in another building. And I think it's to help pull attendance to both, but I am actually not sure if they do a combo ticket for both events, or if they're considered the same event or not. In Lay Spirit stats, we sold 160 items at this show, which was 30 more than we did last year. Our best-selling items were sticker sheets. We sold 53. And our worst-selling items were acrylic keychains. We only sold 1. But our best-selling individual item was our mushroom gacha log. We sold 12 pulls. Okay, let's talk about some pros of AnimeCon. I don't know a lot of shows that have been around for almost 20 years. I know there's some big ones, but this is a very consistent show that's been around for almost 2 decades. And that's a huge plus because people expect it every year. and even the news knows to come out and like do a segment. Like I mentioned before, it is still one of the cheaper tables in the area, especially for an 8-foot space, and we're not crammed together end to end, and we've got plenty of room around us and behind us at even the artist alley tables. And the artist alley and the vendor hall are in the same building, so there's no confusion for where to go to shop everybody. This year wasn't that, but there have been years in the past where this show has been really lucrative for me personally for net sales. I know a lot of my acquaintances and friends who come from out of town for the show also do really well every single year, and it's like the one Fresno show that they continue to come back to. And now some cons for this event. I have a little bit of a longer list here just because there's a lot of things that I love about this show and there's a lot of things that drive me up the wall about this show. Like I mentioned, this was the first anime convention I ever sold at back in 2017. I've seen how this show has kind of ebbed and flowed with building itself and taking a step back and all this stuff. I've seen the growing pains, and I think right now, for a lot of reasons, it's going through its most painful moment because as more anime events crop up in the Fresno area, there's a lot of confusion from attendees about what show is what, and that has actually personally affected anime attendance in recent years. I think the thing that drives me the most crazy about this show is in all the years that I've been doing it, it has not changed at all. At all. There was a brief moment of time before the pandemic where they were doing a summer version of that show that wasn't as good as the March one, so they stopped doing it, especially after COVID. But every single year, this is the same exact guest list, the same exact vendor list, the same exact layouts, the same exact location. Nothing changes. And I think it's causing the show to become stale in a way that a lot of people have decided to drop it from their lineup of shows. Because when you can't have an interesting event for people to come back to every year, especially when there are other events in the area now to fulfill a need of like difference, why would they come to something that hasn't changed ever? Another thing that really bothers me is, and I always forget this every year until I hear about it at the show, they do not do card sales for attendance tickets at the door. You have to either buy them online with your card or it's cash only at the door. So if you forget that and you show up without any cash, there is an ATM nearby, but who wants to, in this economy, spend money on ATM fees? So I know that a lot of people end up not coming because of that, which it's 2026. There's no reason to not take card sales at all. This next point is a little bit of a pro and a con, depending on which position you're in. But this is an event that allows both artists and vendors to rebook immediately after the event ends on Sunday. You can even go as far as booking your space. So this is great if you want to, if you are doing well and you do want to rebook and have a guaranteed show for the next year. But the other thing about it is that it gives people who are new vendors or new artists to the space less of a chance to get in, and there's really not a waitlist system to be like seen. You could probably email the guy that runs it and ask about it, but there's no formal like list of people waiting for spaces to open. So with that, if people don't show up for the event, then there's empty tables, which happens every single year. Even though I've had a lot of pretty big gripes about this, I think one of the biggest cons about this show is the vendor communication system is archaic at best. We all get an email, a couple of emails usually leading up to the event in the month or so leading up to it. But I've looked at this list, so I know for sure like this is how it works. There's no intake of current vendor emails, so the list of people that receive load-in instructions, table placements, etc. is the same list of vendors that was when I was doing it the very first time, because there's people on there who I know haven't done that show since the first time that I did it, who have still remained on these emails. And I know that because the list of recipients is not blind copied, it's just straight CC'd. So you can see every single email in that list. So if you are somebody who just in the last couple of years has started vending at this event, you probably aren't receiving emails with load-in instructions and stuff. You have to reach out for them or ask a friend. And I don't know why this is an issue every single year and it hasn't changed. So not only is that a big like privacy thing, but you're not guaranteed to get the information that you need. And I know that there's been instances where some vendors did not receive those emails, totally forgot that they were booked for an event, lost their money and their space for an entire weekend. So that's just another fun one. Briefly, I'll mention this because if you watched any of my other Fresno Artist Alley vlogs, you already know, but I literally loathe it when there are events at the Fresno Fairgrounds because they're so dumpy. I hate it. That's all I'll say on that. And lastly, for some reason, now that there are more anime conventions in Fresno that typically happen at the Fresno Fairgrounds, for some reason, this is the only one where vendors are not given free parking. I don't know why. There's a huge parking lot attached to the fairgrounds. There's also a smaller lot across the street that is usually $10 a day to park, and there's street parking. And other events that I've been to have been able to give us the big lot and not charge us for parking. But every single year, they say that this is something that the fairgrounds insists on and we have to pay to park or find street parking. Though I will say that this year they did open up a secondary lot for vendors only, and it was first come, first serve, and it's a tiny, tiny little dirt lot. And it was full every single morning by the time we got there. So just another thing to keep in mind. All right, but enough about that. Let's talk about money. My profits and expenses, if you are new to this section, is where I talk about my profits and expenses. I'm going to show you all of my expenses for this show in full dollar amounts, and I'm going to show you a pie chart of my profits broken down by income type. However, if you want to see the actual dollar amounts of what I made at this show and any other Artist Alley vlog that I've done, you can check out my Patreon for $5 or more, or my YouTube members for $2.99, and you can see all of those details. But anyways, here is my expense receipt, and that is a beautiful one. I love it when I only have to pay for the table. And like I mentioned, I paid for this a year in advance, so that money was like not even existent to me. It was just table cost already gone. And we didn't even have food costs because we ate at home both days. So anyway, here's the profits pie chart. And I feel like now that I've separated these, because I used to do profits and expenses all in one pie chart, these are going to start to look the same because it's typically always card the most, cash in the middle, teeny tiny amount of Venmo, which is exactly what this is. 60% in card transactions, just under 40% in cash, and just like one Venmo transaction. But again, if you want to see those in more details, you can check out my Patreon or my YouTube members. Overall, even though I had a laundry list of like cons for this show, this is typically going to be the one that I do recommend for people coming from out of town, out of the Fresno area, because I've mentioned in the past that a lot of us locals do a lot of these same shows, and we have made ourselves a little bit stale in the local market. And I know that people coming in from out of town once or twice a year tend to do pretty well. So that's something to keep in mind, but also just to keep your expectations on the lower end, because it really is interesting to see like how the show is going to be from year to year. Attendance last year in 2025 was an absolute ghost town. Definitely check out that vlog so you'd see what I mean. The attendance was more normal this year. That being said, I was still down, I think about 50% from where I was in 2024, but I did better than I did in 2025. So take that as you will. If you are interested in a newer, smaller market, and especially if you are just starting out, this is a great one to try and get into. And if you can get in and get a table, if you do well enough, I would recommend signing up again at the end because it is pretty cheap. For me, there have been times in recent years where I have wanted to stop doing this show, but it's still really hard to justify not doing a show and making money when all I have is the table expense. So I will continue to keep doing this show myself. And let me know in the comments if you are interested in doing anime, or if you have done it in the past, or if you have attended or want to attend, let me know. I'll also do a very quick note that I'm sorry that it has taken me so long to come back to YouTube. I did not mean to take a month hiatus. There's been a lot of stuff going on, which you'll all see and hear about in the coming videos. A lot of exciting things and a lot of really awful things, and I'm obviously filming this after it has all happened. But please subscribe if you haven't already, so you can check out more of my Artist Alley vlogs and also my studio vlogs, where I talk about more personal things and just how business is going in general. And yeah, I feel like it's now time to just get on with this and get it up for you guys to see. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for sticking around, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!